We're today is going to be our 26th practice since October the 5th, and needless to say, I'm very anxious and excited to get this year 3 started with this basketball team. One of the things we sought out is bringing in some guys that can fill some needs, and one of those needs was we needed some size, and not only size, but size that can play the way we want to play. Guys that can protect the rim, guys that can give us an inside presence, and we feel we've kind of addressed some of those issues with Bobby Portis coming in, Moses Kinsley coming in, and I think an energy guy that people are going to appreciate is kind of in the mode of Kiko is going to be Manuel Watkins. And then you look at our team, I think having some guys that they're in their 3rd year. And hopefully we're looking at some guys that can really step up and provide us some consistent play and expect, to go out and do the things that are going to be necessary to help this team really take it to the next level. I always talk about we want to shift to the next level. We've established that, it's going to be difficult for people to come into Bud Walton Arena and beat our team here. Now it's time for us to shift to the next level, and that is to take the show on the road. And I just feel that we've got some pieces now that are going to put us in a better position to do that. And now it's just a matter of putting those pieces together and putting a team out there that's going to represent, the university, our student athletes, and our students here in the state of Arkansas in a positive light. We're ready to take that next step.
What do you think about the red-white game, and how do you divide these rosters? Looks like all the Arkansas kids from the state are on one team. Is that a coincidence?
Bob, I'm so glad you figured that out. Huh? It's kind of like the in-staters versus the out-of-staters. And even with that being said, I think Pat has done a tremendous job of kind of creating some excitement with the media network, and I think that's kind of neat. We're going to have some honorary fans. They're going to be our honorary coaches. I'll give them some props right now. Chris Ridings, is it Ridings? Yeah, he's going to be the coach of the red team, and Brad Coleman with the white team. So those guys get a chance to do something what a lot of you guys would like to do. I know Bob did it last year, and we've had some other guys. Nate has done it before, but those guys will do that. But we just kind of played around with it. And this roster here, what you see, it may change in the second half. But I think it'll be neat. We got some guys that'll compete. I think our guys will compete, and no matter how I put the teams in practice, it seems like there's competition taking place, and they're getting a chance to audition in front of me, in front of fans, and with the officials coming up in the red-white game. So it'll be interesting to see how they come out and really play in front of people. But I can tell our people they're going to get a lot of energy. These guys will provide a lot of energy. Some of the guys that are really starting to step up and play well, I think Michael Qualls is a guy that's kind of elevated his game. He's doing a lot of other things than, the highlight reels now. We want a guy that's going to be active on the defensive side of the ball, as well as he can rebound the basketball for his size. But he's really worked on improving, shooting the basketball. I think he's got a great lift on his shot. So I think the mid-range game is going to be will be a whole lot better this year. Kai Madden. Everyone talk about what we don't have, and I keep hearing it. I don't know why I keep hearing it, but they talk about point guards. And if you look at my teams over the years, you look at the guys that we had at Missouri, J.T. Tiller and Zaire Taylor. And you had a point forward and a guy like DeMarais Carroll. So what you had is it was by committee. It was by committee that those guys did the job of distributing the basketball, and that's what you want, to have somebody that can really calm the team down and when things kind of get out of hand. I think Kiko Hadar is the guy that can do that as well. But Kai Madden, I think he's got a seriousness about his game this year, and that's going to really help our basketball team. Kiko Hadar, the guy's just consistent. He's a really good basketball player, and he's a tough kid. He's well respected on our team, and quite naturally, he's one of those natural leaders that you got to have on your team. Cody Clark, someone that our guys actually deemed captain. They selected him captain this year, and I think that says a lot about Cody. And he is really, I think he's really kind of honed in and looking forward to having a tremendous year this year.
Mike, is it expecting too much, now that you've had a few weeks with Bobby Portis, is it expecting too much for him to come in right away and be a top tier kind of performer in the SEC?
I think that the great thing about, having a guy like Bobby, obviously we know his potential. I've never seen someone that has really just developed over the course of time. When I first took the job here, when he was in the 10th grade, the first guy I went down to see was Bobby Portis in high school. And he just coming off a sophomore year where he didn't start. He was like the 7th or 8th man. Didn't play that many minutes. But that summer, his 10th grade, going into the 11th grade, he just kind of exploded on the scene. And then the next year, he just continued to improve and get better. I mean, so when you say what will take place at this level, I see a guy that's humble and hungry, and he wants to be of impact. Now, how much of impact, that remains to be seen. But to me, the beauty of it is that we got some other guys, other pieces to the puzzle. You got Orlando Harris coming in, a guy that's experienced playing at this level. So Bobby don't have to have that pressure. Well, he's got to. But I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised what this guy brings to the table. He's got a motor. His skill level is very exceptional. And I think he's going to go at his pace. And if you talk or listen to Bobby, he wants to be one of the best in the country.
Coach, this is year 3 for you. Do you feel any pressure now to make the postseason this year?
Well, when you talk about pressure, every year, that's pressure every year. I mean, no one puts more pressure on himself than the coach. So I expect this team to perform at a high level this year. Each year, I think improvement has been made. Now we need to take that next step. Every year, we're trying to win a national championship. And the only way you're going to win one, you got to be playing it in postseason play. So obviously, we are honing in and just trying to zero in on things that we can control. And that is a day-to-day situation. And with this type of team, I think those are the things you really emphasize, is just trying to get better each and every day. Now, will we be better than last year? That's the challenge. Are we getting better each and every day? Yes, we are.
One of the questions coming out of last year was guys that can knock down shots from the outside in transition. Just stepping up so far, who are you going to rely on this year to knock down the shots from you?
I think Anthlon Bell is a guy. The limited time that Anthlon Bell played, he made the most three-point shots on our basketball team. The highest percentage was guys like Marshawn. I think Cody had a pretty high percentage, and Kiko. I think we got some guys in place that can knock shots down. I think you'll see a different player, I think, in Wade this year. I think good shooting, sometimes the result of good shooting is good passing. If you get that ball moving, you share the basketball. Shooting is all about rhythm. And obviously, we've seen some great shooters. A guy like Scotty Thurman, I mean, Pat Bradley. We've had some great ones here. But I think good shooting, also the result is good passing. So we should be a much improved passing team this past year. And I think you will see our guys really make the extra pass. And I think when that takes place, that's good basketball. They will make the extra pass. Now, Bobby Portis and Moses Kinsley, I mean, you're talking about having a presence inside. Those guys are dynamic passers out. They can get that ball out, and guys can step into shots. So I think you'll see a much improved shooting basketball team this year.
What did you learn last year watching Alandis go through the year, just practicing with you guys, or what can he bring to you?
Landis Harris will bring a level of toughness that we hadn't had, and I think that level of toughness will be displayed here, not only here, but really on the road. He's a guy that you can put the ball in, and he'll be able to create something for you. So I'm looking for him to be a major impact. Having already played in an all-conference performing in Conference USA, he's improving. He's probably in the best shape of his life that he's ever been in. And the competition is really helping him as well. But he's a guy that can he's going to get to the free throw line a lot. He's a face-up forward, and he kind of absorbs contact. He loves contact, and he's one of those guys that can finish. And so he's a man. I think he's a man, and I think he's focused and really focusing on helping this basketball team.
You're talking about taking it on the road. You concerned at all, I guess, other than Hawaii, you don't have a road game until you to go to A&M? Is that a concern at all?
Well, I think, the Hawaii trip would give us a barometer of some tests early on. I mean, that's early on. And then, of course, once we get in conference play, boom, we're right on the road. But we've got some guys that have been here, the Ricky Scotts, the Mardrakus Wade, Kiko Hadar, Cody Clark, Michael Qualls, Ja'Cory Williams, who I'm really excited about Ja'Cory. And as you can see, I think the strength of our team right now, if you look at it, would be our forwards. I think our skilled forwards are really plentiful. And I think that's going to be important for our basketball team. You could look out on the floor, and you probably could see a guy like Cody Clark, a Landis, maybe a Bobby with a Kai Madden and a Michael Quall. I mean, you could see that. So there's a lot of versatility on our basketball team. So in our guard play, I think we'll be improved as well. But when you talk about playing on the road, I think the key is you got enough guys now that have that experience of being on the road. And the biggest thing is you got to have somebody that can be a common force, and you got to have some toughness. I think we've answered some of that, and that remains to be seen. Do we have the toughness that it takes to win on the road? You got to have some toughness. You got to have some guys with some head, and I think we will be improved in that area, those areas.
How much do you think,
want to
Kai?
go fast? How does this team go faster than they already are?
Fast. I want to play fast. I think with your skilled forwards, you can do that. I mean, you will look up and you will see Bobby Portis pushing the ball on the floor like he's a point forward, so to speak. Landis can go with it. Cody can go with it. And now it's going to enable our guys to get out in the lanes and run. But the biggest key is our defense and rebounding the basketball. I want to play at a tempo that's faster than we did play that last year. Now, we've recruited guys that fit what we're doing. We've got some guys that have been here. This is their third year. Obviously, they came in to play for someone else, but they've been, playing for me a couple of years now. So it's time for them to really kind of step it up. And if you watched the team last year, you could see the instincts that, let's say, a Michael Qualls brings to the table, or Ja'Cory Williams. In fact, Ja'Cory used to play too fast. And so now hopefully the game will slow down for him. But even Antoine Bell, I think the experience of going through last year is going to really, Antoine is really playing well up until this point.
How much in what areas do you think Kai has improved as a point guard?
I think Kai's a little bit more focused. I think he's a little more serious. I always thought Kai was one of our better finishers. I would have him at the end of games because I thought his basketball IQ, he was like the quarterback out there on the floor. He was the general. He was the coach out on the floor. And I think just some maturity and just going through the last couple of years. And he wants to play. I think he wants to showcase that, he was one of the better players coming out, his particular class, and the opportunity is there now. He's one of the elder statesmen now. He's a junior. So that bodes well for him. And being here, this is year 3 for him. So it's time for him to step it up as well.
Mike, what you've seen in practice, does Wade look like he's got his shooting touchback that he had, as a sophomore and kind of fell off last year?
What I've seen, Bob, is Wade trying to do other things now. See, sometimes with guys that, let's say he shot well that first year, and so now you come back and you concentrate solely on that. Well, I think Wade can do other things. I think Wade could be one of the better defensive players in our league. And I think sometimes you can focus on doing some of the other things. I think then the shooting naturally will take care of itself. And I think he's really trying to take on that mindset and improve and help our basketball team in any way he can. This is his last go around. He and Ricky Scott, Fred Gully, someone I hadn't talked about, but Fred is much improved. Last year he came in right at the semester, and the hardest thing for a guy that's come in, and especially the way we want to play, and come in and perform at a high level. Now he has a better feel, a better sense of the urgency you got to play with, playing at this particular level and playing at this university. I think Fred will be much improved. So it's, to me, the interesting dynamic with this team is that, I got a lot of different parts, and, ain't a whole lot of difference between some of the talent level. But as we get to this point of the year, some guys are starting to separate themselves. And when you start separating yourself, then you're putting yourself in the position to play. And that's where we're getting to that stage now. And Sunday, it's more of a fun game. Then we have an exhibition game on the 1st. Then we have one on the 5th. And before you know it, November the 8th is here.
talk to your team about this new hand-checking emphasis, and how much do you think that'll change things this year?
Well, it's going to be a major concern. I mean, with not only our basketball team, but a lot of teams, because of, especially we play an aggressive style, but obviously if they're going to call all the different the hand here and hand there, you're going to be shooting a lot of free throws. It's going to have a lot of disruption to the game, but we've got to be able to make the adjustment. We had some officials in this past Sunday. We had a little scrimmage where we had some SEC officials to come in, and true to form, they were calling it. One team shot 38 free throws and made 34. I mean, one team shot, I think, 28 free throws, and it was a lot of ticky-tack. So the only way our guys are going to learn that is through cleaning it up. But we've talked about it and just work on moving our feet as opposed to our hands. But it's not going to change how we play, and that is we're going to play up-tempo basketball. But I think you'll see a lot of teams play a lot of zones. People will start packing it in, so they don't put it on the officials to call some of the touch fouls they're calling. So, but I think you can't get so concerned about that you don't play basketball.
When you pay attention to a lot of the kids on social media, it seems to me like team chemistry is really good right now, not only on the court, but obviously off the court. Can you talk about that?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. We've done a lot of things to try to make sure that's a pivotal point for our basketball team. We Hogs, that's what we call ourselves, and I thought that started out even last year. This summer, all our guys, they came up. I wanted my guys to be here for the first summer session. Well, the young guys came in and they were here for the whole summer, and they could have went home at the end of June after the first summer session. They stayed the whole summer session. They went home for the fall break, and then they came back, and we've been involved in some activities with the ROTC. They had a slight little mini boot camp where, the ROTC at the university did an outstanding job of setting up some obstacles for our kids, and true enough, it built them guys depending on each other. Will you lay down for your teammate? And if you saw some of the footage, they actually did. Then we got up and we did some of the physical, the regiment that they do, where you're talking about picking up guys and putting them on your back, or forming little tunnels, and it was some adverse situation, and it was just more team building. We brought in a sports psychologist, and it's amazing, that he came in and had a chance to visit with our guys, and some of our guys kind of released some burdens that they had in them, but they're hearing the same message that I'm preaching, but they're hearing it from someone else, and I thought that was kind of refreshing. So I just think the kids we have, I feel the kids that we have here, I think they are about winning, and they understand the dynamics of a team, that team's got to be on the same page, and we're going to play, and I think the more you're together off the floor, then it takes place on the floor. And I've heard it again. You got to win off the floor before you win on the floor, and I think we're winning off the floor.
You mentioned Manny Watkins earlier. Obviously, he's playing for his dad here. You've done that. What are the joys and then maybe some of the challenges of having a son play for you?
Well, Coach Watkins actually played for Charlotte, played in the Final Four, and you want to see your son be successful. And this kid had a chance to go to a lot of different places, and now to have an opportunity to play, for his dad, play here at the University of Arkansas, I think it's a big deal to Manuel, and I think he wants to prove to not only himself but everyone else that that he's not just here to be on the team because of his father. And I think you're going to see a kid out here that's he will certainly remind you of Kiko, just one of those guys that will refuse to lose, and he's going to do whatever he can to help the team out. I think it's kind of neat, when you can be around your son, and obviously, it's. I could recall when my son was playing with my team, and I gave him a rule, and the rule was, when they start talking about my butt, you better not be in there with them talking about me. See, that was the one rule. So I'm sure Coach Watkins had that talk with his son as well. But man, is a good kid. He's a good basketball player.
Any more questions for Coach? Coach, when you got here, you inherited a bunch of guys that weren't your own, and now you've been here for the third year. feel like these are finally your guys, the guys that you want in here?
I tell you what, I feel like we got more guys that fit what we're doing. I think, and it's, to me, it's showing off the floor. I mean, when he talked about, I can sense that, the coming together of guys and guys trusting one another now. To me, that bodes well. And not only that, I got gym rats now. These guys spend a lot of time in this gym. I mean, if you ever come and watch a practice or before practice, Bobby Porter's going to be the guy here, but before practice, and he's going to be the last one to leave. And I got more guys now that are gym rats. Watkins, I mean, throughout the summer, all these, Bell. I mean, you're talking about guys come in and shoot 500 to 1,000 shots a day. Moses Kinsley, I mean, those guys come in. Cody Clark, I mean, Alandis Harris. I mean, I got more guys now that are gym rats, and I just kind of reference that back to Missouri, my third year. I started getting those kind of kids in there. They were wee guys, and we just kind of elevated. And so year 3, I just the blueprint's there, and now we just got to go out and do what we do. But the one thing we always going to do, we're going to work hard in practice and get better, and I think and put a product out there that that our fans can be proud of.